I don't think my mum is my mum anymore. Update. It's been just over a week since I saw her sprint at me in the garden, just over a week since hers jerked like meat on strings and her voice curled around me like frost. We haven't spoken about it. Not really. Not out loud, but we all felt it. Something changed that night. Something finally slipped. The thing wearing my mum's skin isn't pretending as much anymore. She still cooks, she still folds our clothes. But it's all pantomime now. Like a mask trying to hold its shape under pressure. The smile she puts on is too wide, her teeth too white. The grin holds for seconds too long, like she's forgotten how faces work. She stares when she thinks we're not looking. Slow, glassy-eyed stares that lock onto you like a mounted deer head. Still, soulless, but always smiling. Dad knows now. He doesn't say much. He doesn't have to. I came down the morning after the garden sprint and found him sitting at the table, a half-drunk mug of tea cooling in front of him. Hands trembling, eyes red. She was in the hall, he muttered. Didn't say anything, just stood there, watching me sleep. He hasn't shaved since. He still goes to work, still pretends. But he hasn't looked her in the eye since that night. He flinches when she brushes past him. And once, when she laid a hand on his shoulder, he jerked away like he'd been burned. He won't eat if she's in the room. My little brother Jamie sleeps in my room now. He just turned 10 last week. We didn't celebrate. He doesn't talk about her, but I catch the way his eyes track her every movement, like he's waiting for her to pounce. Sometimes he whispers to himself when she's near words I can't make out, muttered prayers or made-up rules. He holds his breath when she hugs him. He used to draw all the time. Dinosaurs, rockets, monsters. Now he draws our house, over and over. Every window blacked out, every door sealed shut. Things happen in the house now, things we pretend we don't hear. Last Tuesday, just after midnight, the hallway went silent. Too silent. The kind of hush that comes before something breaks, then the sound of running, fast, heavy, sprinting up and down the hallway, back and forth, bare feet slapping the floor like wet meat, and the clicking, like someone cracking their knuckles, but louder, joints unhinging, popping and snapping like cheap plastic. Every step sounded like it might tear something loose inside her. Dad sat in the dark, clutching a cricket bat. Jamie sobbed into my shoulder, and just when it seemed like it would stop, she began humming. That same soft tune she always used to hum in the kitchen, the one from the pancake mornings. Only now it was slower, drawn out, notes warped and wrong, slurring into each other like her tongue didn't quite remember the shape of them. It didn't stop until dawn. She stopped blinking again. I timed it the other day, 16 minutes, just standing at the sink, staring out the window, motionless, lips curled in that hollow smile. When she finally blinked, it was slow and laboured, like her eyelids were sticking, like they were trying to remember how. Then she turned her head to me, sharp and sudden, just like that first night, and said, "Would you like toast, sweetheart?" in a voice so chipper it made my stomach twist. I said no. She smiled wider. Her teeth are changing. I swear they are. Smaller, more square, as if they're growing to fit a different mouth. Sometimes she talks to the mirror, not in her voice, not in any voice I recognize, just noises, wet, rattling syllables that never quite form words. Her mouth moves too fast or not fast enough. I caught her once, whispering something low and urgent into the hallway mirror, hands pressed against the glass like she was trying to crawl inside. When I stepped closer, she stopped. She didn't turn around, didn't say anything. But in the reflection, her smile grew wider, and she blinked at me once, very slowly. The house smells wrong. Sweet at first, like overripe fruit, but there's rot underneath it. Something damp and sour that clings to your clothes, sinks into your hair. The air's thick like the breath of something sleeping too close. It's strongest when she walks past. I think she brings it in with her. But the worst was what happened to Dad. A few nights ago, he locked himself in his room. He hadn't slept in days. He told me quietly, almost ashamed, that he was going to put something against the door. Just in case, he said. I nodded. That night I heard something moving in the hall. Then came the knock. Not at my door. His. A slow, polite knock, followed by her voice, sing-song and sweet. "Darling, I know you're awake." No response. A pause. Then the voice again, more insistent. "Don't be shy." Then silence. Then a thump, like she'd thrown her body limp against the door. Then came the scratching. Not loud. Just slow, dry, delicate, like fingernails across wood, back and forth, soft as breath. It didn't stop. Not for hours. When it finally did, I opened my door and tiptoed down the hall. His door was ajar. Inside, the curtains had been torn down, The bed flipped, and scratched into the inside of the wardrobe over and over again were the words, "She knows you know, she knows you know, she knows you know." Dad hasn't spoken since. Now, Jamie won't leave my side, and she started crawling. Just after dusk, I heard it. Not footsteps, not pacing, dragging, limbs moving too slowly, too long, fingers scrabbling across the floorboards like they didn't belong to her. I peeked out my door and saw her crawl across the hallway, shoulders jerking, hips twisted wrong, her chin grazing the floor like her neck didn't have bones anymore. She stopped outside Jamie's room, sat back on her knees, and whispered, "I just want to tuck him in." Her head turned toward me, one vertebra at a time, smile still frozen, still hungry. I slammed the door. We didn't sleep. She's still down there now, waiting. Yesterday Dad disappeared. He told me he was going to speak to her just last night. We were upstairs. The hallway was dim, the air stale. He hadn't shaved in days. His eyes were glassy and red-rimmed. When he spoke, it was quiet, like he was ashamed of the words leaving his mouth. "I have to try," he said. "You can't," I told him. "You've seen her." He shook his head. "Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe she's still in there. Something's taken hold of her, but it might not have taken everything. She's gone." He didn't answer. Just pulled the sleeves of his jumper down to his wrist like that might protect. Then he went downstairs. I stayed on the landing. I couldn't go with him. I didn't want to. She was in the kitchen, crouched in the corner like she'd collapsed there, arms hanging loose, knees bent at the wrong angle. She was facing the cupboards, not moving, not swaying, just crouched, like an insect waiting to unfold. "Em," he said gently. "It's me." She didn't turn. "I know something's happened. I know you're not well, but I love you." Still no response. He stepped forward. The floor creaked, and then she straightened in one long twitching motion like her spine was remembering how to work. Her head rolled to one side, her neck cracking. When her face turned toward him, she was already smiling. His voice broke, beginning to cry. "I just want my wife back." She stepped close, her fingers twitched at her sides. Her jaw shifted like it didn't quite sit right on the hinges. She leaned into him, too close, her face brushing his ear. She whispered something. I don't know what. I didn't hear it, but he listened. And that night after dinner, he walked out the back door and never came home. His shoes were still by the coat rack. Later that night, Jamie screamed. I ran to his room and threw the door open. He was on the bed, trembling, pale, pointing under the frame with shaking fingers. She was under there, he gasped. I could see the top of her head. I checked. Nothing there. No sign of her. But the air under the bed was cold, and the carpet smelled like meat gone bad. She's hiding in places now. I've caught her peering from the airing cupboard, face half shielded by towels. I opened the wardrobe and found her crouched among coats, staring out from between hangers with that wide, slow smile, just watching. I don't think she blinks anymore. Not unless she's pretending to. She never pretends for long. Sometimes I see her in mirrors, just for a second behind me in the hallway at the end of the stairs. Her face too still, her arms too long. Jamie says he's seen her head peeking around the banister, upside down. Hair hanging like ropes, smile stretched as far as it will go. She moves like she's enjoying it now, not hiding, playing. Things started turning up in strange places. One of her teeth on my windowsill, a twist of her hair inside Jamie's pillowcase, her wedding ring in the freezer, wrapped in a strip of cling film like meat. She never says anything. She just smiles. The stairs creak differently now, heavier, like something dragging itself up them. She doesn't walk anymore. She crawls. Fast, loud. Her limbs slap the steps like wet meat. Her joints pop and click with every motion. It's like she's falling forward with every movement but never lands. At night, Jamie and I listen from my room. The rhythm of her crawling is steady now, familiar, like the ticking of a grotesque clock counting down to something only she understands. 2 nights ago, Jamie whispered, "She's hungry." I tried to ask him what he meant, but he wouldn't answer. He just buried himself under the covers, shaking. I heard her laugh through the wall. We locked every door and window that night, but just after 3 a.m, I heard the hallway cupboard creak open. I got out of bed slowly and pressed my ear to the door. There was nothing at first. Then, from behind the door, too low to be human, came a whisper. Knock, knock. I backed. The scratching started again. Light at first, then more frantic. From under the bed, from inside the walls. She's everywhere now, and Jamie is gone. He was beside me when I fell asleep. When I woke up, the bed was cold. No scream, no sound. The door was still bolted, but there, by the crack under it, was a fingernail. His. Still bleeding. I ran, searched every room. The kitchen was dark, the cupboards were open, the hallway smelled of that syrupy, rancid rot. But he was gone. Now I'm alone. She's knocking again, not on the door, on the floorboards beneath me, soft, insistent. She's not pretending anymore.